Hold on. What mistakes are you making if you're driving on Amazon Flex? So shift work, let's say you do a shift for 2.5, 3.5 hours. Packages, envelopes, I get my routes, or it's grocery, the Whole Foods, Amazon Fresh runs. Still, same kind of thing. If you make mistakes on Amazon Flex, even with guaranteed pay, it's going to take you longer. It's going to waste your time and just cause frustration. But my point is, you don't know that on your first shift. Promise is taking her first ever Amazon Flex shift, and you and I are going to look at this, looking for mistakes that cost you time, let's say organizing those packages for your delivery shift. It could be possibly not being familiar with the Amazon Flex in-app navigation, or maybe changing it, which you're allowed to do, changing the order of package delivery. Maybe not being familiar with the driver app enough because, okay, it says I'm supposed to make this delivery here and I'm here, but it's not letting me complete the delivery. This keeps happening. I can't finish my shift. It doesn't matter if you're brand new to Flex or if you've been doing this stuff for years. Flat out, mistakes are going to cost you time. So as you're watching this, look for any mistakes that take too much time that could improve the shift efficiency here, because if you're getting guaranteed hourly pay, which is what you're getting on Flex here, you get the full pay even if you finish early. Anything that wastes your time is a pretty big pain.
So today is my first ever day doing Amazon Flex. So my first ever block is 12:30 to...
Okay, let me take a look at this. 12:30 to 5. That's a 5-hour shift for $90. It's a long shift. I mean, most of ours here in Pittsburgh, it starts at 2.5 hours and kind of maxes out at 3.5, maybe 4, maybe. So $18 an hour. Listen, Amazon says their minimum contribution is $15 an hour. I can't advise to do Flex at $15 an hour. It's too many stops. The route is unknown until you get there. It's more stops per hour, not for 15. But $18 an hour, that's kind of the starting point that I also see here in Pittsburgh. But again, that's kind of our minimum. Is it worth it at 18 even? I don't love it at 18. I'd like you to make more money elsewhere if you are going to make $18. So ride share, food delivery, other grocery shopping apps, even maybe other parcel apps.
To 5:30 is $90, and the warehouse was about 30 minutes from my house.
Ooh. Oh, that's the thing though. 30 minutes to the warehouse. I mean, here I'm like 25 minutes to the warehouse. So think of that as well. It's not like, oh, I can drive like outside 2 minutes away. I can go online with Uber Eats or DoorDash and start taking orders. Granted, it depends, where you live, suburbs versus the city. Then when she gets there, she doesn't know where she's going to deliver to until they roll out the rack of packages and envelopes. There's a QR code that's on a piece of paper. On that rack, you're going to scan that, and then it's going to download. I'm really curious what that route's going to be. Then it downloads that route, which could be basically anywhere kind of in that delivery radius of that certain warehouse.
And we're going to go in about 15 minutes early just to pick up all the packages.
That's the maximum, by the way, 15 minutes early to check in.
I've never done this before, so I'm a little bit nervous, but we drove by and it looks like it's a warehouse that you go in and you get a cart. And
correct. Sorry to keep interrupting, Promise. But to give you an idea here, she's doing a 5-hour delivery shift. How many packages do you think she's going to get for a 5-hour route? Comment that down below. I'm going to guess with you. I want to say 60, but I think they're going to keep it under 60. I'm going to guess like 58, 59. There it is. That doesn't look like a lot at all.
There's only 20 stops, babe, so it's not a big deal.
20 stops. You guys got, well, you know what? Hold on, knock on wood. I was going to say you got lucky for only 20 stops for 5 hours, but I've had it where it's like, oh, great, I only have 12 packages, but like 9 stops because some are like doubled up, basically like 2 packages for one person. But in that circumstance, they were like really far apart. So it was like 10 minutes to my one delivery, another 10 minutes to the other delivery. So it's more driving.
I walked in and the security guard was like, okay, this is how you do it. Let me just verify the picture on your ID with the picture on the app. and then I just scanned my ID, my driver's license, on this little portal right in front of the door. And then he explained to me that as soon as you walk in, there are carts that are ready for pickup, and you just go to the one that it assigns you whenever you check in.
That's a little different than what we have here in Pittsburgh, but I have heard both pickup ways. So Promise said, I'm going to go in and then I'm going to find my card based on the information in the app. Here in Pittsburgh, at least from what I've seen from 3 different warehouses here in Pittsburgh, that they'll bring the carts out to you. Just follow the instructions in the app and or the associates in the fields and you should be good. So it's 20 deliveries and 20 stops. Wow. For a 5, they're going to finish, I hope, early for that few stops.
It wasn't that big of a deal this time because I only had 20 stops, but I would like to learn how to package up my car more.
Awesome. I don't know if you watched one of my videos, but I help you out, Promise, and you watching this. So after you've scanned the QR code, you get your routes. Sometimes you'll have to scan. She said like it auto scanned all the packages. I've had that, but I've also had where I do have to scan every single package, put it in my vehicle, and confirm that I've scanned every single package. Again, the app's going to tell you what to do. But to find the stops after that, you can go back into your app, into your itinerary. At the top of the itinerary, there's a search button. Click on that search button. It's going to open up another barcode scanner, just like you just did scanning it off of the rack. You scan your packages again. After now that you've gotten the itinerary, if you scan it again, then you'll get info on there that tells you which stop number it is. So it'll tell you like, oh, okay, this box is stop number 6. Get a Sharpie. That's one thing that you really do need. After I left the warehouse, what I did is just take the packages out of my trunk. It's going to take a little bit of time, yes, but then it's organized by stop. Again, scan it, package 7, package 11, do that whole process, and then put it back in your trunk, last stop first.
When we first pulled up the maps, we were 40 minutes away from our drop-offs. They're all in this little town that we actually...
Okay, oh, that hurts. So Promise said, let's take a look at it again here. When she pulled up the map, so it'll tell you, like, navigate to the warehouse, then like start deliveries, and it'll automatically like let you know the first one. 40 minutes away, kind of what I was afraid of. It can go good and bad because on the best case scenario, yeah, I drive 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away, but then after that, all my deliveries are super clustered together. This house, then the next house, then I just drive a block, another house, and it's really close together versus a house here. Gotta drive 10 minutes, a house over here, and that takes a lot more time.
All right, we only have 2 more packages, so we're almost done, but these last 2 are pretty far off the beaten path. So
kind of what I was worried about.
We still have some driving to do, but we're almost done. I think we'll get done early, actually. Okay, shoppers, so we're all done doing Amazon Flex today, and we ended up making $90 and only worked 3 hours. We drove about 100 miles.
Okay, I mean, I knew they were going to finish early. That is quite a bit early. So yeah, $90 for 3 hours is fantastic. $30 an hour there. But they drove about 100 miles there. So 90 cents a mile. That is the big kind of catalyst for Amazon Flex because you don't know where you're going. So I feel like if you want that predictable pay, it's great for predictable pay. I think you're going to have shorter routes and possibly easier routes, maybe on Amazon Fresh, the grocery deliveries. Granted, you're going to have just, grocery bags versus obviously these packages and envelopes. But 90 cents a mile, it's not going to cut it. Imagine you did this like shift after shift after shift for weeks or months. If you're averaging around 90 cents, $1.05 a mile, frankly, in my experience and expertise, they're just better side hustle platforms out there. I don't hate Flex. I think it's good if you can get some of those hourly shifts with some bonus pay. Again, maybe the Amazon Fresh runs. Maybe you can use the instant offers, which is just like, 1, maybe 2 deliveries that need to be picked up and delivered instantly. So you don't have to commit to an entire route, and you'll see these starting and ending destinations on those instant offers. My only concern with those numbers there is, let's say they did a flat 100 business miles. So for 2024, it's 67 cents per business mile. So if you have 100 business miles, that's a $67 tax deduction, which just, if you take the optional standard mileage deduction, that just encompasses the general operating cost of using your vehicle for business. So if they made $90 minus 67, it's $23 in total divided by 3 hours of work. So it's like 767 after expenses in this case. Versus, let's say you did another side hustle where you did $2 a mile and you did less miles, which is why the dollars to mile ratio, how much am I getting paid per mile driven, actually helps you out math wise. Let's say you did like 60 miles times the 67 cents. So $40.20 per deduction. And say I made the same money. So let's just say $90 minus 40 in the expenses. So $50 divided by, let's say, the same 3 hours. Then I'm making $16.67 after the expenses. I mean, honestly, that is not an unrealistic shift that we saw here on her first shift from Promise on Amazon Flex. It's just that ambiguity of not knowing where you're going until you get to that warehouse. I think it's like enjoyable to do if you want to do it with a spouse, friend, partner here, but sometimes, not always, the pay isn't worth it. Again, especially on the dollars to mile front, try to get that bonus hourly pay. Look at those other earnings options on the Flex platform that I mentioned. Is it worth it in 2024 and beyond? Kind of, but on the options that you have here in the gig economy, it's certainly on the kind of bottom third options for me.